AWS makes it so easy to leverage their S3 storage service. So easy, in fact, that companies around the world are leveraging hundreds or thousands of S3 buckets across multiple AWS accounts to host their data. But herein lies the problem. How do we rein in all that S3 data across all of our accounts? And how do we protect it all in a consistent manner? And can we be sure it's resilient against cyber attacks? Don't fret, Rubrik has you covered. AWS S3 Object Storage is one of the most widely adopted services in the cloud, with nearly 1 million organizations relying on it to store hundreds of exabytes of data. With an uptick in cyber attacks and regulatory needs, coupled with this explosion of data being generated, organizations are recognizing the need to protect this crucial and confidential data. But achieving complete cyber recovery for S3 data is challenging for several reasons. The first is inconsistent data protection. Because of this large scale of data that S3 hosts, it's difficult for customers to apply data protection policies to it, especially when it's spread out across hundreds of AWS accounts. Nobody wants to manage a data protection solution for each individual AWS account. Secondly is just slow recovery. Restoring entire S3 buckets just to pull a dozen or so individual objects is really not efficient. Organizations need the ability to quickly search for specific objects and restore them. That said, if an entire bucket level restoration is required, it needs to be performed efficiently, without complex processes of having to first land the data on S3 standard tiers and then babysit the recovery tasks. And finally, backing up and restoring S3 data always has the potential to rack up several unexpected service charges. Customers need the ability to leverage lower cost storage tiers to host their backups, making sure that their backup data doesn't cost the same to host as their production data. It's these three challenges that Rubrik set forth to solve within our S3 protection. First, we deliver a unified interface to manage your S3 data protection needs across all of your buckets, across all of your AWS accounts and regions. Secondly, Rubrik provides flexible options as it pertains to restoration. You can restore a single object or an entire bucket, and you can restore this back to its original location or to a completely new location. And finally, Rubrik provides air-gapped, immutable storage locations across all of the S3 storage tiers, including Glacier, to utilize as backup targets. The data is compressed and never leaves your account. This all contributes to lowering an organization's overall total cost of ownership. So with that, let's dive into Rubrik Security Cloud and check it out. Now, before we get too far into the demo, I just want to mention that you can follow along and get your own hands-on experience with Rubrik's S3 protection by leveraging our Rubrik Explore Lab. There's a link in the description, as well as on the screen here, that will take you to your own interactive click-through demo that you can check out everything that we're going to cover today at your own pace. Definitely recommend checking that out. So with that, let's kick it off with onboarding your AWS account into RSC. This is a simple process that involves you entering a few details about your account, like its ID, name, as well as what regions you would like to protect. Rubrik will then go out and deploy a CloudFormation stack into the customer's environment, which in turn deploys all of the resources that Rubrik needs in order to complete backups. For those customers that leverage multiple accounts, Rubrik Security Cloud can also accept a CSV file containing the account info in order to onboard multiple AWS accounts at the same time. Once the account has been onboarded, Rubrik automatically discovers and inventories all the S3 buckets within the newly added AWS accounts and presents that information through our intuitive user interface. That said, before we can actually back up these S3 buckets, we need to have a place to store that data. Rubrik leverages S3 buckets to provide a storage target for S3 backups. These storage targets can live on S3 Standard, S3 IA, S3 One Zone IA, and for those customers that are looking to lower their TCO even further, storage targets can also be configured on the S3 Glacier tiers, including Deep Archive. Rubrik handles the entire creation of the S3 storage targets. We simply enter in what account we'd like to host the target in, as well as what region and storage class information we want to use. Rubrik will go out and automatically create the storage target for us. These storage accounts can be created within the same account as the source data, or to provide an air gap solution, they can be created in a completely different account than the one that hosts the source data. Rubrik's S3 Protection leverages the same SLA domain policy engine as other workloads protected by RSC. Creating these SLA domains is a pretty simple task. Simply define your RPO and retention values, and then select your backup target, give it a name, and you're done. Now, it's just a matter of assigning the SLA domain to our S3 buckets, which can be done on a number of different hierarchical levels. First, we can assign an SLA domain at the account level. This ensures that any existing as well as any newly created buckets within this AWS account will automatically inherit the SLA domain assignment, and they'll automatically be protected by Rubrik. Data protection is no longer an afterthought when you provide account level protection. We can also assign an SLA domain directly to the buckets themselves. Any direct bucket level assignment will override the assignment inherited from the account level. Customers often leverage an account level assignment with a high RPO to provide a base level of protection. Then they override their most important S3 buckets with a direct assignment of an SLA domain that takes backups more frequently throughout the day. Finally, we also support assigning SLAs based off of AWS tags. We simply add a tag rule name and then select the AWS tag that we're looking for, as well as what accounts we would like to apply this tag rule to. Then it's just a matter of selecting the SLA domain we would like to be assigned. If Rubrik detects that this given tag key value pair is placed on an S3 bucket, then the selected SLA will automatically be assigned to that bucket. This is important for two reasons. Number one, most of the cloud architects that we run into aren't managing backups through the Rubrik UI. They're using their infrastructure as code tools like Terraform to deploy their infrastructure and managing everything that way. Adding a certain AWS tag key value pair to their Terraform plans allows them to easily ensure that the data that lands on that bucket will be automatically protected. Secondly, tag rules support multiple accounts. We have a lot of customers that have multiple AWS accounts that are managed by various people and departments. While the environments all differ, they do ensure that a common tagging strategy is applied to them all. Tag rules allow Rubrik to rein in some of these inconsistencies and automatically protect their data no matter which account it lies in. Now, we all know that backup alone is no good without recovery, and Rubrik delivers fast, efficient recovery for your S3 data. First, we can search within a bucket either by manually drilling through the files and folders or by utilizing Rubrik's intelligent and fast search capabilities to find the object that we need to restore. Recovering objects is simple. We simply select the objects or folders that we're looking for and click Recover. And then we select the preferred recovery option. Rubrik can recover our objects in place, meaning they will go back to the original location and overwrite any production data that exists, or Rubrik can recover the objects to an entirely different S3 bucket located in any one of the onboarded AWS accounts. Need to recover an entire bucket? No problem. Find your point in time, select to recover the entire bucket, and again, we choose whether to recover in place back to the original bucket or export to recover to any other bucket within our AWS accounts. Safeguarding your data within Amazon S3 is crucial in ensuring the availability, confidentiality, and integrity of an organization's critical information. With Rubrik, protecting your S3 buckets is as easy as onboarding your AWS account and applying an SLA domain, all from within a unified interface that manages all of your data protection needs across all of your AWS accounts. Whether you're a large enterprise with thousands of buckets spread across hundreds of accounts, or a small business leveraging a single bucket, Rubrik Security Cloud has you covered. To learn more about Rubrik's S3 Protection, visit rubrik.com/AWS or follow the links in the descriptions to our product page and self-paced hands-on labs. Thanks so much for watching.